Hello class. So let's start the Haemophilus and the Hasek group. Okay. Now, ano ang general characteristic ng mga Haemophilus? So Haemophilus are known to be fastidious organism. When you say fastidious, these are bacteria that require supplement for them to grow. So hindi siya basta-basta tutubo sa mga normal na artificial media na ginagamit natin sa laboratory. Now, ang Haemophilus, tinawag siyang blood lover kasi nga, it loves protoporphyrin 9 that can be found sa blood. So as long as merong protoporphyrin 9, tutubo ang Haemophilus. Now the protoporphyrin 9, that is also known as the X factor or the hemin. That again, nakikita yan sa blood ng chocolate agar and also ng blood agar. Now, another supplement na kailangan ng Haemophilus is the V factor. Now, ang V factor naman, that is a vitamin being supplemented during media preparation. Ibig sabihin noon, kapag nag-prepare ka ng chocolate agar, kapag malapit ng medyo malamig na yung temperature ng chocolate agar, nagdadagdag ka ng isovitamins doon. Binubuhos mo siya doon sa chocolate agar. Minimix mo. Kapag na-mix mo na sa chocolate agar, that's the time na di-dispense mo na siya sa mga petri dishes at magagamit mo na yung culture medium. Okay? So, yung Isovital-X, yan ang source ng V-factor or what you call the vitamin. So, pagdating naman class sa transmission, actually, most of the Haemophilus are part of the flora. Ang hindi lang part ng flora dito is the Haemophilus ducreyi that you may get through person-to-person contact. Now, another characteristic ng Haemophilus is the ability for it to show satellitism. When you say satellitism, so it means that the bacteria, Haemophilus, it can grow besides colonies of Staph aureus, Strep pneumoniae, and Neisseria. Bakit class? As you can see here on the picture, meron dalawang klaseng colony. Merong malalaki, merong maliit. Yung malaking colony, that is the Staph aureus. Yung maliliit na colony, tulad niya binibilugan ko, that is the Haemophilus. Yung mga malalaki, Staph aureus, maliliit, Haemophilus. Now, bakit sila tumutubo sa tabi ng Staph aureus? Kasi Staph aureus produces the NAD, the V factor. Again, Staph aureus produces the V factor, Okay? Now, ang blood agar, meron na siyang X factor na incorporated kasi nga blood yan, 'di ba? May blood. So meron ng source ng X factor or protoporphyrin 9. And then yung V factor naman, nanggagaling yan sa Staph aureus. That's why the bacteria can exhibit satellitism. Now, pagdating naman class sa habitat, again, most of the Haemophilus are part of the flora. As long as they are found sa upper respiratory tract, they are part of the flora. Nagiging pathogen lang siya kapag napunta sa lower respiratory tract tulad ng Haemophilus influenzae that can cause systemic infection or pneumonia. Ang hindi lang part ng flora is the Haemophilus ducreyi. The ducreyi that is sexually transmitted. Okay? Now, for the Aegyptius naman, that is known to cause purulent conjunctivitis or pink eye. Actually, class, pagdating sa conjunctivitis, dalawa yan. Okay? Pwedeng Haemophilus aegyptius or Haemophilus influenzae, biotype aegyptius. Ang difference lang nilang dalawa is the manifestation of the conjunctivitis. Kapag Haemophilus influenzae, biotype aegyptius, meron kang conjunctivitis with fever and purpura. It is known to cause a condition such as Brazilian purpuric fever, which I'm going to show you later. Now, among the Haemophilus, the one that can cause systemic infection is Haemophilus influenzae. Bakit class? Kasi nga, it has several virulence factor tulad na lang ng capsule that makes it antiphagocytic. Besides the capsule, meron siyang mga proteases that can actually counteract the effect of your antibody. It also has fimbriae, outer membrane proteins, and the LPS or lipopolysaccharide. Now, marami tayong serogroup ng Haemophilus. You have the A, B, C, D, E, and F. But pagdating class sa meningitis, the one that can cause meningitis in children is Haemophilus influenzae type B. Again, pagdating sa meningitis in children, the one that causes that is the Haemophilus influenzae serotype B. Okay? But the rest of the Haemophilus, yung mga hindi naman type B, it can cause systemic infections such as pneumonia, sepsis, septic arthritis, and other conditions. So pagdating sa pink eye, the first one is Haemophilus aegyptius. So tinawag siyang aegyptius kasi this was first observed by Koch way back in 1883 in Egyptians. So meron silang mga conjunctivitis or what you call the pink eye, kaya tinawag na pink eye conjunctivitis. This was also known as the Koch-Weeks bacillus. Yung other type ng conjunctivitis naman is much more severe. That is being caused by Haemophilus influenzae biogroup aegyptius. So meron kang conjunctivitis accompanied by high fever, and purpura. When you say purpura, ito yung mga bruising sa skin. Okay? Kaya nga tinawag siyang Brazilian purpuric fever. Kasi may conjunctivitis ka with high fever and bruising sa skin or purpural rash. Kaya tinawag na Brazilian purpuric fever. So this condition has a very high mortality rate. Up to 70% ang mortality rate ng Brazilian purpuric fever. That is being caused by Haemophilus influenzae biogroup aegyptius. Pagdating naman class sa STD, ang nag-iisa na STD sa mga Haemophilus is the Haemophilus ducreyi. Now, ano ang sign na meron kang Haemophilus ducreyi? So una muna, sa genitals mo, meron kang makakapa ng mga soft bumps or what they call the soft chancre. And then, yung singit mo, magkakaroon ka ng mga kulani doon na namamaga or what they call the buboes. Okay? So you can see here sa arrow, meron siyang namamaga na kulani. Ang tawag dyan is bubo. And then itong sugat na yan, this is what you call the ulcer or the chancre. Okay? So that is commonly seen sa mga prostitutes sa mga poor countries or third world country. Okay? It is associated with poor hygiene, prostitution, drug use, and poor socioeconomic status. So, doon class sa genitals ng pasyente, magkakaroon ka ng mga ulcers na merong pus, mga nana. It is enlarged, draining, inguinal lymph nodes or buboes are commonly seen. Yan ang manifestation ng chancre or what you call the Haemophilus ducreyi infection. Now, other species, tulad ng Haemophilus parainfluenzae, they can cause otitis media, endocarditis. For the Haemophilus hemolyticus naman, they can cause bacteremia, septic arthritis, and peritonitis. Take note, yung apat natin na common na pathogen is the Haemophilus influenzae. Again, kapag meningitis, the type B is the one that causes it. Kapag hindi naman type B, pneumonia lang yan or sepsis. For the Aegyptius and the biogroup Aegyptius, pareho sila na conjunctivitis or purulent conjunctivitis. Ang difference lang is much more severe ang biogroup Aegyptius that can cause the Brazilian purpuric fever. For the Ducreyi, nag-iisa na sexually transmitted among the Haemophilus. It causes chancre or chancroid. So how to perform lab diagnosis? Pagdating class sa lab diagnosis, again, take note na ang mga Haemophilus, tulad na sabi ko kanina, they are fastidious. Ibig sabihin noon, hindi sila basta-basta tutubo sa mga artificial culture media. Madali silang mamatay. That's why dapat during specimen collection, tama ang process mo. As much as possible, upon collection, i-process mo na yan within 10 minutes. Ganun class ka-sensitive ang Haemophilus. Kung hindi mo kayang i-process agad-agad, then you must place the sample sa mga transport medium. Example of that is if you're going to collect Haemophilus ducreyi from genital ulcers. The specimen is cotton swab moisten with phosphate buffered saline. So, isa-swab mo yung ulcer. And then after swabbing the ulcer, ilalagay mo yung swab doon sa transport media na AMIS transport media. Kung wala ka niyan, pwede yung other transport media as long as meron siyang thioglycolate heme-based media containing albumin and glutamine. Okay? Yung iba din na sample na pwedeng makolect are the lymph node aspirate, the pus, and the bubo aspirate. Pwede rin yan as long as meron kang transport media na naka-ready. Sa other species naman, tulad ng Haemophilus influenzae, pwede ang bronchoalveolar lavage or washing kapag ang manifestation mo ay pneumonia. Kapag naman meningitis in children, of course, the sample should be CSF and blood culture. For other Haemophilus, pwede ang middle ear exudate, joint fluid, and other specimens. Now, after specimen collection, the next to do is to perform microscopic examination. Again, gram stain pa rin is the key. So again, ang gram stain nila is they are gram-negative pleomorphic. When you say pleomorphic, pwede siyang coco bacilli or bacilli in shape. Okay? And then, pwede rin ang acridine orange na gamitin to stain the sample. If the sample is a fluid, you must centrifuge the fluid and get the sediment. And then, gram stain the sediment. So this is what the Haemophilus influenzae looks like. So this is the Haemophilus influenzae sa CSF na mayroong meningitis. As you can see, they are inside the white blood cell. So meron siyang intracellular, meron din siyang mga extracellular, gram-negative coccobacilli. Kasi nga, pleomorphic siya. Okay? Now, for the Haemophilus, again, Haemophilus influenzae, since meron siyang capsule, there are some non-staining areas or what you call the halo that you can observe kapag merong capsule ang bacteria. Now, pagdating naman class sa Haemophilus ducreyi, the bacteria is arranged. Ang kanyang cellular arrangement is described as railroad track or school of fish appearance or fingerprint appearance. Yan ang kanyang mga cellular arrangement. Now, after the gram stain, you may perform direct detection tulad ng antigen test or nucleic acid detection. Kapag ang sample mo is CSF and you're suspecting meningitis, ang pinaka-best na ginagawa is to perform the antigen detection. So, dati class, ang ginagamit natin is latex antigen test. However, class, mataas kasi ang false positive, kaya binago na ang test. Kapag dating sa antigen, ang ginagamit na natin is particle agglutination testing. Again ang particle agglutination testing, ginagamit yan kapag ang specimen mo ay CSF or urine. That is to detect the meningitis being caused by the Haemophilus influenzae type B. The old test is latex antigen test. Yun yung luma na prone siya sa false positive. Kaya ngayon, ang bagong ginagawa na is the particle agglutination assay, which is more sensitive sa Haemophilus influenzae type B. Pagdating naman class sa culture, again, chocolate agar ang best. Kasi nga, meron siyang protoporphyrin 9 or the X factor, meron ding NAD or the B factor na vitamin na hinahalo natin during preparation ng chocolate agar. Okay? So, fastidious species such as Haemophilus ducreyi and Haemophilus aegyptius require media supplemented with Isovitalix or Vitox for the optimal growth. Kaya tayo nag-a-add ng Isovitalix or Vitox sa culture medium. Yung iba, nagdadagdag din ng glucose, cysteine, glutamine, adenine, thymine, vitamin B12, guanine, iron, and aminobenzoic acid. Ito yung mga sinasabi ko na mga vitamins na dinadagdag natin sa agar para mas lalong tumubo ang other species ng Haemophilus. So, this culture media na nilagyan ng mga vitamins is known as Leventhal medium. Okay? Leventhal medium class ang tawag dyan kapag nilagyan mo ng mga vitamins yung chocolate agar. So, for the other selective medium na ginagamit, pwede rin ang horse blood, bacitracine agar. Pwede rin class ang GC agar as long as meron mga supplements, as you can see here. Pwede rin ang Nairobi plate medium. For the Nairobi plate, GC agar din siya with supplements. Blood culture can also be supplemented with sterile hymen and NAD para tumubo. Kasi class, yung mga normal na blood culture bottle, usually hindi na re-recover dyan yung mga hemophilus. Mare-recover mo lang yon kapag nag-add ka ng mga supplements tulad ng hymen and NAD. And then for the incubation, kailangan ng up to 7% ng CO2 for them to grow. Incubate them sa 35 to 37. So medyo matagal tumubo ang mga hemophilus. Ang mga hemophilus up to 72 hours ang incubation niyan. Up to 5 days nga for the Ducrey and Aegyptius. Kaya nga class, kapag ang suspect mo is meningitis, di ba? Tulad nga sabi ko kanina, kapag meningitis yung condition ng pasyente, ang ginagamit is the rapid antigen test or what you call the particle agglutination testing. Kasi sa particle agglutination test, within at less than 30 minutes, meron ka ng resulta. Pero kapag culture kasi, hanggang 5 days pa, 72 hours ang incubation. Slow growers ang mga Haemophilus. So for the appearance, the Haemophilus aegyptius, they will appear as comet-like sa chocolate agar. Comet-like appearance. For the Haemophilus influenzae naman class, on chocolate agar, it has mucoid colonies with mouse nest odor. Amoy pugad daw ng mga daga ang Haemophilus influenzae. Kapag ginamit mo ang Leventhal medium, it will give you yellow, red, green, or blue color for the Haemophilus influenzae. Okay? So this is what the Haemophilus influenzae looks like on the chocolate agar. It has tan mucoid colonies. And then on figure 31.2, makikita mo yung satellite phenomena ng Haemophilus influenzae where it can grow besides the colony of the Staph aureus. So how to identify the Haemophilus? So what we do is we perform the X factor and the V factor test. Ang ginagawa natin is meron tayo dito na Miller-Henton agar. We culture that with the bacteria. And then we add on top the X factor disc and the V factor disc. Now, kapag daw class, merong tumubo besides the X factor or the V factor, ibig sabihin noon, that is Haemophilus. For example, this one, meron siyang tubo sa in-between ng X factor and the V factor. So ito class yung X factor disc, ito yung V factor disc. Ito yung bacterial growth. So meron daw siyang tubo in between the X and the V factor. Okay, so it can be Haemophilus influenzae. Ito naman class, tumubo lang siya on the V factor. Sa X factor, wala siyang tubo. So it can be Haemophilus parahemolyticus. So over here, we have here a table ng growth pattern sa X and the V factor test. So, kapag ang bacteria niya tumubo both sa X factor and the V factor, it can either be the influenzae, Aegyptius, or Haemolyticus. That is kapag both X and the V factor ang merong tubo. Just like what you see here on the picture. Both X and the V factor merong growth. Pero kapag kapag V factor lang yung may tubo, it can be the Haemophilus parahemolyticus, para influenzae, Pitmani, para prohemolyticus, or the Haemophilus sputorum. So just like what you see here on the picture, ito, V factor lang yung merong tubo. Okay? Yan. Kapag naman X factor lang ang merong tubo, like this one, so kapag X factor lang ang merong tubo, it is Haemophilus ducreyi. Take note na ang Haemophilus ducreyi only needs X factor for it to grow. Just like what you see here on the picture. Okay? X factor lang ang kailangan niya So possible na Haemophilus ducreyi siya. But for this one, the example is Aggregatibacter aprophilus. Okay? So, meron din besides the X and the V factor test, meron tayong tinatawag na Haemophilus quad plate. So, this is the quad plate. So, yung quad plate na yan, meron siyang mga different quadrants na may mga supplement in each quadrant. So, kapag daw quadrant 1, meron siyang BHI agar with X factor. So, kapag meron tumubo lang sa quadrant 1 lang, ibig sabihin, X factor lang ang kailangan niya. And then for the quadrant 2, merong BHI with isovitamins or the V factor. For the quadrant 3, merong both X and the V factor. Yung quadrant 4, ito yung merong blood. Okay, that supplements the X factor and supplemented with the V factor. So ang ginagawa is, nagko-culture tayo dito sa quad plate kung saan may tumubo, kino-correlate natin sa result here sa table. Okay? So this is the X and the V factor growth requirement. So take note of the Haemophilus influenzae. For the Haemophilus influenzae, again, it requires both the X factor and the V factor for it to grow. Besides the X and the V factor, it is also Psilose positive. Okay, Psilose positive ang Haemophilus influenzae. Okay, now for the Haemophilus aegyptius naman, it requires both the X factor and the V factor for it to grow. Okay, it is Psilose negative that can differentiate it from the influenzae and also urease positive. That is the aegyptius. Now, another test is the porphyrin test. The porphyrin test, this is an alternative method to differentiate the heme-producing species of the Haemophilus. So, ano ang principle ng test? The principle is that the bacteria will be able to convert the ALA dito sa culture medium into porphyrin or porphobilinogen. So here you have here a culture medium na meron siyang ALA or the delta alpha the aminolevulinic acid or the ALA. Kapag daw meron kang Haemophilus dyan, it will convert the ALA into porphyrin or porphobilinogen. So what you do is, you culture the bacteria and then after 4 hours of incubation, you're going to add COVAX reagent. Upon adding the COVAX reagent, you're going to view this under a Woods lamp. And then kapag nagkaroon ng fluorescence or the reddish-orange fluorescence, ibig sabihin noon, nag-produce ng porphyrin, like what you can see here on the picture. So the main advantage of the porphyrin test is that X factor is not required and the problem of carryover is eliminated. Okay? So, ginagawa class ang porphyrin test kapag meron kang doubt sa X factor test or the V factor test. So, kapag porphyrin negative, it is Haemophilus influenzae and Haemophilus hemolyticus together with Haemophilus ducreyi. The rest are porphyrin positive. Now, let's go to the HASEC group. So, HASEC, this is an acronym for other members of the fastidious organism. You have here the Aggregatibacter, Cardiobacterium, Echinacea, Kingelia. So, since mga fastidious yan, again, they require supplements for them to grow and increase CO2 for them to grow. So, most of them are part of the flora. However, nagiging pathogen sila once they enter the bloodstream. So, again, halos lahat sila part of the flora. Particularly sa mouth, sa oral cavity. So, nagiging problem lang sila kapag napunta sa bloodstream or other parts of the body. Now, first is the Aggregatibacter. Yeah. So, mag-start muna tayo sa Aggregatibacter aprophilus. So, it came from the Greek word apros and philia, meaning foam-loving or desiring high concentration of CO2. Now, pagdating class sa disease, it is known to cause endocarditis. Kasi nga naman class, it tends to aggregate the lipids in your blood that can cause plaque formation sa mga blood vessels mo. Kaya pwede ka magkaroon ng heart murmur and congestive heart failure and embolism. Okay? So it tends to cause plaque formation sa blood vessels mo. So besides sa blood vessel, it can also cause dental plaque and gingival scrapings. Okay? So that condition can lead to heart murmur, congestive heart failure, and embolism. So pagdating class sa culture, the aprophilus are convex, granular, and yellow with opaque zone near the center of the chocolate agar. Yan, ito siya. Okay, this is the colonies of the bacteria. So this is the colonies of the Aggregatibacter aprophilus. That is not X-factor dependent. Ibig sabihin noon, it can grow entirely on the surface of the triplicase soy agar plate. And this is the gram sign of Aggregatibacter aprophilus. Next is the Aggregatibacter actinomycetem comitans. Now, for this bacteria, this is known to cause periodontitis, or what you call the infection siya class sa gums, as you can see here on the picture. Okay? So, for the actinomycetem comitans naman class, human tissue infections have been attributed to bites by cattle, sheep, pigs, and horses, or through contact with these animals. So meron kang mga different serotypes such as the A, B, and C that are commonly isolated. So again, this bacteria is part of the oral microbiota. Okay? So part talaga siya ng bibig natin. However, class, kapag meron kang overgrowth ng microorganism due to poor dental hygiene, doon ka pwede magkaroon ng advanced periodontitis, as you can see here on the picture. Okay? So this is a dental disease that can harbor the organism that can destroy the alveolar bone that will support the teeth. So dito class sa bandang gums, yung kanyang target, yung alveolar bone. Yung class ng sinisira ni bacteria. Besides that, it can also cause endocarditis, and it has a distinctive star shape with 4 to 6 points colonies. Now, this is the colony of the Actinomycetem comitans. Kapag daw nakita mo ito under the microscope, the colony, it will look like a star with 4 to 6 points. The star-shaped colonies are observed after 48 hours using 100 times magnification or under a light microscope or under a stereo microscope. Next is Cardiobacterium hominis. So you have two species of the Cardiobacterium. You have the hominis and the valvarum. But the most common one is the hominis. Now for this one, this is known to cause infections due to dental procedure that can lead to endocarditis. Kasi class, ang Cardiobacterium hominis, again, nakikita ito sa mouth ng mga tao. So, kapag nagkaroon ka ng dental procedure, pwede siyang pumasok sa bloodstream. It can also go to your heart, causing endocarditis. It can infect your aortic valve more frequently as compared to other Hasek organism. Ano ang characteristic ni Cardiobacterium? First is the gram stain appearance. So gram stain, they tend to form what you call rosette swellings, like this one, rosette. Rosette swellings, long filaments, or stick-like structure if you culture that on the yeast extract agar. So this is the rosette formation. Ito yung kanyang arrangement sa gram stain, the rosette formation of the Cardiobacterium hominis. They're also slow growers. Pagdating ng mga klase sa culture, they tend to pit the agar. When you say pitting, ibig sabihin noon, paloob yung kanyang tubo sa agar, na parang binubutas niya ang agar. Now, next is the Acanella corrodens. Now, for the Acanella corrodens, again, part yan ng flora ng mouth na makukuha ng mga tao after human bite or fist fight. Okay? So, pwede na kapag nakipagsuntukan, tumama yung kamay dun sa ngipin ng tao or kapag nakagat ka ng tao. Ito yung mga ways para makuha ang Echinella corrodens. Kapag naman poor hygiene ka, hindi ka masyadong tututbrush, pwede kang magkaroon ng periodontitis kasi nga nakikita to sa mouth ng mga tao. Okay? So, kapag nagkaroon ka ng Echinella corrodens, the bacteria can go to your heart valves, causing endocarditis. just like what you observe sa Cardiobacterium hominis infection. So, for the characteristic ng Echinacea, they tend to pit the agar. When you say pit the agar, yung kanyang tubo paloob ng agar, it looks like binubutas nila yung agar. It looks like it is corroding the agar. Kaya tinawag siyang Echinacea corrodens. Okay, kasi nga it tends to pit the agar. For the odor, it has a chlorine bleach-like odor. It also does not grow in the McConkey agar or EMB agar. Now, for the Aggregatibacter actinomycetum comitans, again, if you culture that on the blood agar, it will give you a greenish tinge. So, meron kang green na color doon sa underside ng agar. And then, if you take a look under the microscope, the colonies will look like stars with a 4 to 6 pointed star configuration. That is the actinomycetum comitans. And these are the biochemical reactions ng Actinobacillus and other organism, the Aggregatibacter. Now, next is the Kingellia. For the Kingellia, the pathogen here is the Kingellia kingi. So, marami kang different species ng Kingellia. You also have the Dinitrificans, but the most commonly isolated is the Kingellia kingi. This is actually part of the oropharynx microbiota. So, kapag napunta siya sa bloodstream, it can lead to endocarditis. Also, with the Kingellia, dinitrificans. Pero sila na pwede mag-cause ng endocarditis. So the reason why you're going to get this infection is because of poor dental hygiene or after dental surgery. Pwede makapasok sa blood causing endocarditis. So it grows sa modified Thayer-Martin medium. For the gram stain, it has a bacilli morphology with square ends. As you can see here on the picture, bacilli siya with square ends. Okay? So for the Kingellia, it can grow on the blood agar, doesn't grow on McConkey agar, catalyst negative and oxidase positive. Now next is the Capnocytophaga. For the Capnocytophaga, when you say capno, ibig sabihin noon, it loves CO2. Okay? It is CO2 loving. So for the Capnocytophaga, it can grow in blood culture from patient with neutropenia or oral ulcers. When you say neutropenia, the patient has depleted neutrophils in the blood. Okay? So yung kanyang neutrophil mababa, kaya prone siya sa infection ng Scapnocytophaga. Also, if you have oral ulcers, kasi nga nakikita rin ito sa mouth ng pasyente, it can lead to endocarditis as well. Okay? The Capnocytophaga. Again, kaya tinawag na capno kasi nga it loves CO2. Now, pagdating class sa kanyang appearance, the colonies of the Capnocytophaga, they tend to have what we call the gliding. Okay? They tend to have what you call the gliding motility. Kaya nga class, as you can see here sa colony ng Capnocytophaga, meron siyang mga gliding, meron siya class marks na gumalaw yung bacteria kasi nga it tends to glide on top of the agar. Okay? So sa top ng agar, nag-glide siya kaya meron siya mga marks over here. Okay? As you can see here on the picture. Now next is the Pasteurella. Okay. Now, for the Pasteurella, this is known to cause Pasteurellosis. So, this is a zoonotic infection na makukuha natin from infected animals. So, pwede class na kinagat ka ng animals or possible na direct contact sa mga infected animals. So, ang source ng Pasteurella is cats, mga pusa. Okay? So, kapag kinagat ka ng pusa, possible magkaroon ka ng Pasteurella multocida. Now, for the Pasteurella naman class, ang kanyang manifestation is it is systemic infection. Possible magkaroon ka ng sepsis that can lead to meningitis, pwede rin ang pneumonia, pwede rin ang soft tissue infection or cutaneous infection, particularly after being bitten by a cat. Okay? Sa mga pusa nakukuha ang Pasteurella multocida. For the Pasteurella canis naman, sa mga dogs yan nakukuha. Now, other Pasteurella can both be found sa dogs and cats. Now, for the Pasteurella, the characteristic is it produces non-hemolytic colonies on the blood agar that may appear mucoid after 24 hours of incubation. So these are the colonies of the Pasteurella growing on the blood agar and chocolate agar. Take note, walang tubo ang MacConkey agar. Now, for the Pasteurella multocida, again, nakukuha ito sa mouth ng cats and dogs. Kaya common siya associated sa bite ng mga pusa, sometimes sa bite din ng mga dogs, even sa scratches nila. Okay? So this is the characteristic of the Pasteurella multocida. It is oxidase positive, catalase positive, ODC positive, indole positive, doesn't grow in MacConkey agar. Next is the Brucellia. Now, Brucellia, this is known to cause brucellosis. This is the infection with bacteria from the genus Brucellia. Again, zoonotic infection din ito. Okay? So, for the Brucellia, ang pathogen natin dito is the Brucellia abortus. That is the most commonly isolated. Besides the abortus, pwede rin ang militensis, suis, and canis. So, ang mga Brucellia, meron ka mga different animal sources niyan. Okay? So, for this one, for the Brucellia militensis, nakukuha mo yan sa goat or sheep. Brucella abortus, you can get that from the cattle. Brucella suis from the swine. Brucella canis from the dogs. Okay? Ito yung mga sources ng Brucella. Kaya tinawag siyang zoonotic infection. Now, Brucella, it is a possible bioterrorist agent kasi nga it is highly infectious lalo na sa mga animals. So, how can you get infection? You can get infected by able to inhale the bacteria from the infected animal. That is what you call aerosol. Okay, wherein may infected animal na inhale mo yung bacteria from that, pwede ang percutaneous and also oral route. Kapag nakain mo yung infected cattle or na-scratch ka ng infected animal. Ito yung mga possible na ways magkaroon ng brucellosis. Pwede rin ang pag-drink ng unpasteurized milk. So, uminom ka ng gatas diretso from the infected cattle, di ba? Or unpasteurized milk, possible na magkaroon ka ng brucellosis. What will happen to you kapag nagkaroon ka ng brucellosis? You may have what they call the undulant fever, Mediterranean, Crimean, and Malta fever. That is a fever with malaise, headache, anorexia, arthralgia, myalgia, and back pain. Yan ang characteristic ng undulating fever. So, meron kang mataas na temperature in the afternoon and evening and will fall in the morning. So, sa umaga, wala kang lagnat. Sa hapon at gabi, dun ka nagkakalagnat. Kaya tinawag siyang undulating fever. Okay? So, minsan, meron ding chronic form that can manifest 1 year after the exposure where you're going to have depression, arthritis, and chronic fatigue syndrome. That is the characteristic of brucellosis. Now, for the culture, it can grow on the sheep's blood and MacConkey agar, pwede rin sa Martin Lewis medium, modified Thayer Martin. It needs up to 4 days for them to grow. It is oxidase and catalase positive and urease positive within 2 hours. Now, next is Francisella. Now, for the Francisella, the pathogen here is Francisella tularensis. This is known to cause tularemia. For tularemia, this is a zoonotic disease that can cause rabbit fever, deer fly fever, lemming fever, and water rat trapper's disease. Okay? So, maraming species ng Francisella, but the most commonly isolated na significant is the Francisella tularensis. So, how can you get tularemia? Either nakakain ka ng infected animal, nakakain ka ng rabbit na may tularemia, na-inhale mo yung kanilang bacteria, or nakagat ka ng mga ticks or flies na merong Francisella tularensis. So after being bitten, pwede ka magkaroon ng fever, okay? That is a manifestation of tularemia. Or possible na ulceroglandular, wherein you're going to have ulcers at the site of inoculation. Let's say, kinagat ka ng ticks. So doon sa area kung saan ka kinagat, magkakaroon ng ulcers doon, followed by inflammation of your lymph nodes. Pwede rin magkaroon ka ng pneumonia kapag nasinghot mo yung bacteria. Pwede rin ang glandular oropharyngeal, oculoglandular, and typhoidal forms. It is highly infectious. At least 50 organism can cause infection na. And considered as a biosafety level 3 hazard. So, for the isolation of the bacteria, blood is the acceptable specimen. So, blood ang specimen of choice natin to isolate the Francisella. And then you're going to observe small non-motile gram-negative bacilli that are strictly aerobic. So the characteristic ng Francisella is that it loves cysteine. Okay? So if you want to isolate the bacteria, you need to supplement the culture media with cysteine. That's why the culture medium of choice here are chocolate agar supplemented with cysteine. Pwede rin ang modified Thayer Martin or BCYE agar with cysteine. Kailangan lagyan ng cysteine yung mga culture medium. Okay? So, the culture can be incubated up to 14 days. Matagal nga lang class yung recovery ng Francisella. Up to 14 days ang incubation. So, besides that, you may also perform the MALDI-TOF MS. You may also perform the DFA testing, immunohistochemical testing, PCR, and serological testing. Those are alternatives to culture kasi nga napakatagal na ang resulta ng culture up to 14 days of incubation pa. Now, next is the Legionella. Now, the pathogen here is Legionella pneumophila. This is a gram-negative bacilli that you may acquire through inhalation from environmental sources. So, ang Legionella pneumophila class, ang characteristic niya is that it can survive and multiply within free-living protozoa. So, kapag may mga stagnant water na merong mga possible na protozoa at nasinghot mo yon, possible na magkaroon ka ng Legionella pneumophila. So common siya sa hot water system, cooling tower, evaporative condensers. Those are reservoir of the Legionella pneumophila. Sa mga ornamental fountain, whirlpool, humidifiers, possible na merong Legionella pneumophila. So, delikado ba ang bacteria na yan? Yes, delikado siya. It is known to cause Legionnaire's disease. Kapag nagkaroon ka ng Legionnaire's disease, magkakaroon ka muna ng pneumonia or what you call a typical pneumonia. After that, it can go to your circulatory system causing extrapulmonary infection. It can infect your kidneys, liver, heart, your brain, lymph nodes, spleen, bone marrow. It can lead to bacteremia, renal failure, liver failure. So organ failure class ang magiging effect ng Legionella. From pneumonia hanggang sa organ failure. Kaya class nakakamatay ang Legionella pneumophila. It is also known to cause the Pontiac fever. This is the pneumonic form of the Legionella infection. So for the specimen ng Legionella, the specimen of choice here is sputum, bronchoalveolar lavage, and bronchial washing. Kasi nga, pneumonia ang first manifestation ng Legionella. Okay? Now, urine, ginagamit lang siya for antigen detection. So for the bacteria, it is also fastidious that requires cysteine for it to grow. So that's why ang recommended culture medium is BCYE with 0.1% alpha ketoglutaric acid or what you call the BCYE alpha. Okay, this is the agar best for Legionella isolation. So the characteristic of Legionella is that it will grow up to 3 to 5 days. Meron siyang ground glass colony morphology. It requires L-cysteine. Kaya ang culture media mo should be the BCYE alpha kasi nga it requires L-cysteine. Okay? Now, for the BCYE agar, the colonies are grayish, white, or blue-green, convex and glistening, measuring up to 2 to 4 millimeters in diameter. So over here is the non-selective charcoal yeast extract with 0.1% alpha glutagonic acid. So this is the BCYE alpha agar. Okay? And then ito klase letter B, same din, the BCYE alpha agar. Tumutubo ring class yung colonies ni Legionella. This one. Ito yung mga small colony, yung maliliit. These are the Legionella colonies. So this is also the Legionella pneumophila colony on the buffer charcoal yeast extract agar with 0.1% alpha glutathione acid after 3 days of incubation. Yung mga maliliit na colonies, those are the Legionella pneumophila. So another method is, another one is to identify the suspected colonies of the Legionella. This can be accomplished by demonstrating the L-cysteine requirement or performing the Maltitov MS. Now, meron din tayong tinatawag na immunofluorescent antibody testing, this one. So for the immunofluorescent antibody test, these are the Legionella. Ito, yung mga nagko-fluoresce na yan. Okay? Ito, Legionella din yan. The one that has a fluorescence, those are the Legionella pneumophila. Now, next is the Bordetella. Now, for the Bordetella class, meron tayong different species. Meron kang Bordetella pertussis and Bordetella parapertussis. Now, for this one, this is known to cause the pertussis or the whooping cough. So, bakit siya tinawag na whooping cough? Because the cough is so severe na it looks na you tend to lack oxygen kapag umuubo ka. So, you tend to whoop. Kaya tinawag siyang whooping cough. Okay? So, the coughing spells may occur many times a day and are sometimes followed by vomiting. So, ganun ka-intense yung kanyang pag-ubo na minsan nasusuka na yung pasyente. So, for the whooping cough, the sample of choice here is the nasopharyngeal aspirate or swab. Pwede rin ang Dacron swab. That is a specimen of choice for culture and PCR testing for Bordetella. Particularly class kapag nagkokole ka, dalawang swab ang ginagamit. One through each of the external nares. So kada isang ilong daw, papasukan mo ng swab. And then kapag nag-collect ka ng nasal swab, dapat it should extend up to the nasopharynx. Hanggang doon sa pinakaloob-loob ng ilong mo, doon ka dapat nagsaswab. Okay? After swabbing that, ilalagay mo yung swab sa transport medium tulad ng amis with charcoal. Or after that, you may culture na sa artificial media such as Bordet Gengo or the Regan Low medium. Okay, those are the recommended culture media to isolate the Bordetella, particularly the Regan Low. If you culture that on the Regan Low, it will exhibit silver resembling mercury droplet colonies. Like this one. Ito ang Bordetella pertussis natin. If we culture that on the chocolate horse blood agar, it looks like a silver mercury droplet colonies like this one. Okay? So meron ka mga different species ng Bordetella. You have the pertussis, parapertussis, and the bronchoseptica. So ang pinakamatagal tumubo sa artificial medium is Bordetella pertussis up to 5 days. Okay, up to 5 days sa charcoal horse blood agar. So they do not grow sa maconchi agar except for the bronchoseptica. Okay? For the blood agar, the pertussis doesn't grow on the blood agar. Kailangan niya ang charcoal horse blood agar. Okay? So that is the Bordetella. Again, take note, yung mga primary culture medium sa Bordetella. It needs Bordet Gengo, Regan Low, Steiner, Schultz medium. These are the culture medium recommended to isolate the Bordetella. Take note of that. Now, for the Bartonella naman class, so for the Bartonella, this is a bacteria na ang source are animals. Okay? Kaya nga zoonotic to. And most of the time, we get the infection from the bite of the fleas or ticks coming from the animals. Yung iba naman from the scratches of the animals. So example na lang is the Bartonella henselae. And for the Bartonella henselae class, you can get that from the scratches and bites of the cats. Okay? For the Bartonella clarigeae naman class, you can get this from the fleas and ticks of the cat. Bartonella bacilliformis, you can get this from the bite of the sandflies. For the Bartonella elizabethae, you can get this from the fleas of the rats and gerbils. And also for the Bartonella quintana, you can get this from the bite of the human body louse. So those are the sources of the Bartonella. Now for the Bartonella, they are oxidase and catalase negative that grows on blood-enriched media. Okay? So for this one, for the testing, pwede naman ang culture. However, nucleic acid amplification testing is the recommended method to confirm for Bartonella. So when it comes to the clinical manifestation, please take note of the following. Bartonella bacilliformis, this is known to cause Carrion's disease or what we call Viruga peruana. For the Bartonella clarigeae and the Bartonella henselae, both of them can cause cat scratch disease. Again, the clarigeae and the henselae, both of them can cause the cat scratch disease, also bacteremia. For the elizabethae, they can cause endocarditis. And for the Bartonella quintana, they can cause the trench fever. So how to isolate the Bartonella? For the clinical sample class that you collect, ang pinaka recommended is the blood. Okay, if you're able to collect the blood, you must first culture it on the blood culture tube, then perform lysis-centrifugation. Bakit kailangan ng lysis-centrifugation? Kasi nga, intracellular ang mga Bartonella. Okay? So, kailangan mong i-lyse yung blood para ma-isolate mo ang mga Bartonella. So, you may also use blood coming from sodium citrate or plastic EDTA tube. Pwede rin ang tissue specimen tulad ng lymph node, spleen, or cutaneous biopsy. As long as you're able to homogenize the tissue to release the bacteria, you'll be able to isolate the Bartonella. So take note na yung mga naka-formalin fixed tissues na, ang magagawa mo na lang na test dyan is the PCR testing. Pero for the culture, hindi mo na magagawa kasi nga meron ng formalin. Okay? So if ever kung alive pa yung bacteria, you're able to collect blood and then lyse mo yung blood, you may culture that on the Columbia agar, Tripk soy, Roselia or heart infusion agar, supplemented with hemoglobin and 5% rabbit blood or hemin. These are the required culture medium to isolate the Bartonella. Okay? So for the Bartonella henselae, you may use the heart infusion agar. For the Bartonella quintana, you may use the chocolate agar. Now most of the Bartonella, they love CO2. You may incubate them sa 35 to 37 except for Bacilliformis and Clarigeae that requires lower temperature. Kailangan medyo 25 to 30 degrees Celsius lang and it should be aerobic, ambient air, walang CO2. Okay? So exception lang yung Bacilliformis and Clarigeae. And then matagal class ang incubation, up to 4 weeks ang incubation ng Bartonella. So lymph node aspirates naman or swab, you can inoculate that into the lake horse blood agar supplemented with hemin and incubate with CO2 for 6 weeks. So ganun katagal class ang pag-culture ng Bartonella. Kaya nga class, kapag nagda-diagnose sa Bartonella, ang pinaka-recommended na lang na test is PCR. Kasi nga ang PCR, within 1 hour lang may resulta ka na, pero yung mga culture ng Bartonella, 4 days, 6 days pa bago magkaroon ng results. Next is the Streptobacillus species. Now, for the Streptobacillus naman class, ang common dito is Streptobacillus moniliformis. This is a facultative non-motile anaerobes. So ang Streptobacillus class, this is a habitat of the upper respiratory tract of wild and laboratory rats. So sa mga daga class nakikita ang Streptobacillus. Flora nila yan sa kanilang upper respiratory tract. So sa mga rodents, rats, mice, squirrels, diyan makikita ang mga Streptobacillus. It is pathogenic for humans and can be transmitted by the following. Pwedeng nakagat ka ng mga rodent, it causes rat bite fever, or you're able to ingest contaminated food such as unpasteurized milk or milk products na nakontaminate na ng mga daga. Okay? Either nakagat ka ng daga or nakakain ka ng pagkain na contaminated ng daga. If that happens, you're going to have what they call the rat bite fever or Haverhill fever. Ang characteristic is that you're going to have fever with headache, vomiting, and severe joint pain that can lead to endocarditis, bacteremia, and sepsis. That is the characteristic of Streptobacillus moniliformis. Again, it causes rat bite or Haverhill fever. Now, for the lab diagnosis, the specimen of choice here is the blood or aspirate from the joint, lymph nodes, or lesion. You're going to mix that with equal volume of 2.5% citrate to prevent the clotting. And then you're going to culture that sa brain heart infusion cystine broth supplemented with heated horse serum and yeast extract in order for you to isolate the bacteria. And then yung mga exudate or pus from the lesions, you may gram stain it or stain with GEMSA, then look for the spiral bacteria. For the characteristic class, they are pleomorphic, sometimes tangled, long filaments that makes them look like sometimes mukha siyang spiral because of the tangled filaments like this one. Okay? So it is a spiral shape that resembles string of pearls. It is again tangled filaments like this one. Okay? Magkakadikit-dikit sila na filamentos. So, after culturing, so the characteristic of the culture is that the colonies are non-hemolytic. Kapag sa broth, they exhibit fluff ball or breadcrumb appearance on the bottom of the test tube. For the agar, they tend to embed themselves in the agar, making them look like a fried egg with a dark center. The colonies are also referred to as the L-phase colony that have undergone spontaneous transformation to the L form. For the biochemical test, again, negative siya sa indole, catalase, oxidase, nitrate, non-motile, and urea. Negative din sa H2S. So, one of the best tests to identify the Streptobacillus is to perform the Malditoff MS. Okay? Next is the Spirillum-minus. For the Spirillum-minus class, nakukuha rin ito sa daga, sa mga rats din. Kaya nga naman, it is known to cause another form of rat bite fever, also known as Sudoku. Ang difference lang niya sa Streptobacillus is that Spirillum-minus is commonly seen in Asia. So kapag sa Asia, nakagat ka ng daga, nagkaroon ka ng fever, probably it is being caused by Spirillum-minus kasi nga ito yung common sa Asia. So ano yung symptoms? Similar sa Streptobacillus except that arthritis is rarely seen in patient with Sudoku. So wala kang makikitang arthritis kapag meron kang Sudoku or Spirillum-minus. And swollen lymph nodes are prominent sa Sudoku. So magkakaroon ka ng mga kulani kapag if you have Sudoku. Okay? So una muna kagating ka ng daga and then the bite wound will heal. But after 1 to 4 weeks, nagiging ulcer that will form granulomatous lesion hanggang magkaroon ka ng fever, headache, blotchy, purplish, maculopapular rashes. So, yun ang difference niya kay Streptobacillus. Meron kang mga purplish rashes sa skin if you have the Sudoku or the rat bite fever caused by Spirillum-minus. So, the specimen choice is blood. If you're going to test for Spirillum-minus, dapat blood ang specimen. Kung walang blood, pwede ang exudate or lymph node tissues. It cannot be grown sa artificial media. That's why detection only relies on GEMSA, right stain, or dark field microscopy. So if you're able to see spirochetes, thick spiral gram-negative organism, it can be spirillum-minus. So yung sample daw, yung blood, exudate, or lymph node tissue, stain mo siya using the Wrights or Gemsa stain or you can visualize it on the dark field microscope. Kapag nakita mo na spiral, thick spiral gram-negative bacilli, it can be spirillum minus. Okay? So that is the lecture for today.